Long ago, in the misty mountains of Kyoto, there stood a small temple known as Tsukigi-dera, the Temple of the Moon's Shadow. People from nearby villages often came here, not just to pray, but to seek peace from the habits that bound their minds. In this temple lived an old monk named Master Hakuin, whose eyes were as calm as still water. They said he could see the weight of one's heart just by listening to their breath. One spring morning, a young boy named Riku arrived at the temple. He was 17, restless, with hands that trembled from years of nervous habits. He would gamble with friends, lie to cover mistakes, and waste hours in taverns instead of helping his mother in the fields. He knelt before Master Hakuin. "Master," he said, his voice shaking, "I want to change. I try every day, but my bad habits drag me back like a shadow. Tell me, how do I stop?" The monk looked at him quietly. "You cannot cut a shadow with a knife," he said. Riku frowned, not understanding. Hakuin continued, "But you can make it disappear. When you walk toward the light." Master Hakuin led Riku outside to a courtyard. There, a heavy rope was tied between two poles. He asked Riku to pull one end. Riku pulled with all his might. The rope stretched, but did not break. "Now," said the monk, "try to untie it." It took Riku many minutes to patiently loosen the complex knots. The monk smiled gently. "A habit is like this rope. When you first make it, it is soft and easy to untie. But with time and repetition, the knot tightens. If you wish to change, you must begin before the rope hardens." Riku nodded, finally realizing that every small, seemingly harmless choice had tied him tighter and tighter. The next day, Hakuin took Riku to the temple garden. Half of it was neat and green, a picture of tranquility. The other half was overgrown with thick, stubborn weeds. "Pull the small weeds," the monk instructed. Riku quickly removed a few tiny ones with ease, barely disturbing the soil. "Now pull the big ones," Hakuin said. These were a different story. The weeds were stubborn, their roots deep. Riku pulled and struggled until his hands were raw and bleeding. Panting, he finally freed one large weed from the earth. "Do you see?" the monk said, his voice calm. "A bad habit is like a weed. When it is young, you can remove it easily. But if you let it grow deep roots in your mind, it will fight back. The longer you delay, the more painful the change will be." Riku felt a wave of shame wash over him. His own bad habits had grown very deep roots indeed. One evening, as dusk settled over the temple, Hakuin poured tea for Riku. He kept pouring, even after the small cup was full, and the tea spilled over the sides, pooling on the table. "Master!" cried Riku, jumping back. "It's spilling." The monk set down the pot. "This cup," he said, pointing to the overflowing vessel, "is your mind. It's full of excuses, guilt, and old desires. Until you empty it, no new wisdom can enter." Riku looked at the mess, then back at the master. "How do I empty my mind?" he asked. Hakuin replied, "By silence. By watching your thoughts without judgment. Only when you stop fighting yourself and you see clearly which habits serve you and which ones enslave you." Weeks passed. Riku worked hard. He rose at dawn to sweep the temple floors, meditated for hours, and practiced honesty in every small action. But one evening, while returning from the village with supplies, he saw his old friends laughing and playing dice by the warm glow of lantern light. The pull was magnetic. The old thrill whispered to him, "Just one game." He sat with them. Hours vanished. He lost the few coins he had painstakingly saved. The next morning he confessed to Master Hakuin. His head hung low. "I failed again," he said, his voice heavy with despair. "My shadow will never leave me." The monk looked at him, not with disappointment, but with compassion. "When a baby learns to walk and falls, do we call it a failure?" Riku shook his head. "Then why do you punish yourself for falling while learning to live differently. The monk continued. Each time you rise again, the shadow grows weaker. You feed the shadow with regret. Stop feeding it. One cold night, with the moon hanging high in the sky, Hakuin gave Riku a strange task. Go to the mountain lake at midnight, he said, and bring me the reflection of the moon. Riku was puzzled but obeyed. At midnight, the lake was a perfect shimmering mirror. He reached his hands into the icy water to catch the moon's reflection, but it shattered into 1,000 ripples. Frustrated, he tried again and again, but the image always vanished at his touch. He returned to the temple, defeated. It's impossible, Master. The reflection vanishes when I touch it. Hakuin smiled knowingly. So it is with bad habits. They are not solid things you can seize and destroy. They are reflections, patterns of thought. To change them, you must calm the waters of your mind. In that moment, Riku finally understood. All this time, he had been fighting his own reflection. Weeks turned into months. The monk saw Riku's progress, but wanted to test his will one last time. He said, every habit has 4 fires that keep it alive: cue, craving, action, and reward. Learn to cool each one. He gave Riku practical examples. When you feel the urge for sweet rice wine, remove the cue, do not walk past the tavern. When the craving burns inside you, breathe deeply and let it pass like a wave. When the action tempts you, change your direction, go, and do something kind or useful instead. And when the memory of the reward whispers to you, remind yourself of the high price you once paid for it. Riku practiced this every single day. Slowly, he noticed the changes. The rope of habit loosened. The weeds of temptation weakened. The cup of his mind began to clear. One day, Master Hakuin announced, your final test begins tomorrow. You will live in silence for 7 days. No words, no gestures. Only awareness. The first day was easy. The second was torture. Without the distraction of speaking, Riku could hear the deafening noise inside his own mind, the echoes of guilt, anger, and worry. But as the days went on, something remarkable happened. By the 7th day, the noise faded. In its place, he could hear the wind rustling the bamboo, the soft rhythm of his own heartbeat. He realized that bad habits were not monsters chasing him. They were just whispers from an untrained mind. Silence had become his sword. After many months at the temple, Riku decided to return home. His mother, seeing his calm eyes and steady hands, was astonished. What did the monk teach you? She asked. Riku smiled. He taught me that habits are not chains, they are choices repeated. And every choice is a brushstroke in the painting of one's life. He helped her rebuild their field, worked with patience and diligence, and never again returned to the tavern. He became known in the village as Riku the Steadfast. Years later, an old traveler visited Master Hakuin. I met a farmer in the valley, a man named Riku, who teaches young men to discipline their minds. He says he learned everything from you. The old monk smiled gently, looking out at the mountains. I only showed him the mirror, he said. He was the one brave enough to face his own reflection. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the temple grounds, the monk whispered to the wind, when one person breaks their habits, they free not just themselves, but generations after them. If you enjoyed and want more life-changing stories, please like and subscribe.